Coming up now in your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, we've got all the news coming out of AEW Revolution and Sting's retirement. We've got news on the first name announced for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. And we've got a very interesting bit of news concerning Virgil as we celebrate his life and career in the wake of his passing last week. All that and more coming up now. AEW Revolution is in the books, and that means the icon Sting's career is over. The career dating back all the way to the 1980s. His final match taking place in the Greensboro Coliseum, the exact same venue where he had a very famous match with Ric Flair in 1988. So in recognition of Sting's final match taking place in the city, Greensboro, North Carolina, proclaimed that March 3rd is Thank You Sting Day. And in addition to that, the Greensboro Coliseum presented Jim Ross, Sting, Tony Schiavone, Ric Flair, Darby Allin, and Tony Khan with commemorative black baseball bats. AEW president Tony Khan took to Twitter and called Sting's 3-year run in AEW the greatest comeback in sports history. Here is what he wrote. Last night at AEW Revolution, Sting completed the greatest comeback in sports history. Sting's 3-year run in AEW from age 61 to 64. Jesus. 30 matches, a 30-0 record, 29-0 in AEW, and 1-0 in Noah for Great Muda's send-off. Retired as AEW World Tag Team Champion in the best last match ever. And Tony Khan is often pretty quick to say things that happen in AEW are the best ever, but I think a lot of people might agree with him here that this was the best way for a legend to end his career. Okay, so up on your screen now, just some comments from wrestling legends. Lex Luger, of course, longtime tag team partner of Sting. Luger was on hand last night in the Greensboro Coliseum, wrote, "Oh, what a night. Stinger went out in style." Up on your screen here, Ric Flair writing, "It's not how many times you get knocked down that count. It's how many times you get back up. Congratulations, Sting. Woo!" Tony Schiavone writes, "Today is a celebration of one of the greatest performers ever in pro wrestling. From the first time I held a mic for Sting at the TBS studios in 1987 to the career-making match against Flair in 1988 to watching him do crazy things in the ring here in AEW, I've been amazed at his accomplishments. But it's the person behind the face paint that has made this so rewarding for those of us backstage. Today is my last chance to shout, 'It's Sting!' I'm so very honored to be along for most of the ride of this incredible career." So Sting and Darby Allin successfully defended the AEW Tag Team Championships last night against the Young Bucks. And it was later reported by Fightful Select that even though this was Sting deciding how his final match should go, and many people saying he'd probably want to put over the Young Bucks in the end, Fightful Select is reporting that AEW and Tony Khan were adamant that Sting needed to win his final match and go out on top in the manner that he did. Now, concerning the AEW Tag Team Championships, new title holders are going to be determined via a tournament that's going to begin in March. Tony Khan has promised to reveal the format of the tournament in the coming days. So it's not clear if we're going to get a single elimination style tournament, maybe a tag team Continental Classic. We'll just have to see what Tony Khan has in store for the tag titles. As it concerns Sting, now in terms of Sting staying on with AEW in some role, here's what Sting had to say about that in the post-event press conference. He said, "Tony has mentioned me staying on board in some form or fashion. We haven't really worked anything out there yet, but I'm sure we'll have some kind of conversation, and I'm saying maybe. We'll see what happens. I have no interest in being a manager or anything like that or an agent. I don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what I can offer." So we'll just see what the future holds for Sting in AEW, but it sounds like everybody wants him to be involved in some manner. Paul Heyman is the first person to be named to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. Of course, it's fitting. WrestleMania 40 is going to be in Philadelphia, where Paul Heyman took what was once called Eastern Championship Wrestling into a national organization, ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, and the influence that that promotion had on the entire wrestling industry is pretty well established. News about Heyman's induction was first announced by the Associated Press. There was a few comments from Heyman in their article announcing the news. Heyman spoke about ECW in the article. He said the extreme in ECW stood for the work ethic involved, the passion that was necessary, and the extreme connection to an audience to whom and for whom we were always obsessed with under-promising and over-delivering. The legacy of ECW is firmly rooted in the very simple concepts of paying attention to the cultural curve and obsessively trying to stay a few steps ahead of it. He also spoke about being inducted into the Hall of Fame and mentioned that he still considers his body of work incomplete, but that's fine. He said, I consistently feel like I'm just getting started and I'm just figuring this out. To me, what is an incomplete body of work, because there's still things I want to accomplish, I never felt comfortable accepting that as a reflection upon an entire career. So some others commented on Paul Heyman's induction. Triple H wrote, he's been a promoter, a manager, an executive, a wise man, and now a WWE Hall of Famer. There's more to say about Heyman Hustle, well, Paul Heyman, but as always, it's best to let him say it himself with a live microphone in Philadelphia. Paul Heyman's Hall of Fame induction in Philadelphia is going to be quite the scene. It should be very interesting. And we'll see who could possibly induct Paul Heyman into the Hall of Fame. Many Paul Heyman guys are with the company, including CM Punk, including Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns took to social media as well. He just posted an emoji of the Bloodline putting their finger up in response to Paul Heyman being announced for the 2024 Hall of Fame. Also, at AEW Revolution last night, they announced that their next pay-per-view will be AEW Dynasty on Sunday, April 21st. So once again, back on a Sunday night for their pay-per-view. And it'll take place from the Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis, Missouri. So St. Louis getting an AEW pay-per-view. At a media call to promote AEW Revolution that was held last week, Tony Khan said he's looking at about 9 to 10 pay-per-view events for 2024. And he said he thinks about 9 is probably the sweet spot. In 2023, they had 8 pay-per-views. That was due to the 5th pay-per-view Forbidden Door being added in 2022. And then 3 more pay-per-view events were added in 2023. Those were Wrestle Dream in October, World's End in December, and then the big All In from Wembley Stadium in August. So now with the addition of AEW Dynasty, it looks like they're going to have at least 9, and that's in addition to the 3 to 4 Ring of Honor pay-per-view events that also run a year. So also from AEW Revolution last night, it was Will Ospreay's first match as an official full-time member of the roster. He had a great bout with Konosuke Takeshita. Ospreay would come out the winner in the end, but he was sporting a very large contusion on his lower back after a brainbuster on the turnbuckle attempt by Takeshita kind of went awry, and Ospreay landed sort of awkwardly. He was asked about the injury at the post-event press conference afterwards, and he basically said, oh man, that sucks. He said, my ass is so bad. Can I show a little bit of it? I'm not going to show you my cheek. And he did show some of the bruise. He later said, that moment he brain busted my ass on the top rope. Dude, that was the most painful thing I've ever felt in my entire life. I wanted to cry. There's a lump, dude. But Takeshita is the best. So now Ospreay is set to face Kyle Fletcher, his teammate in both the United Empire and the Don Callis family. They embraced after Ospreay's match at Revolution. So it is going to be Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. However, at the Revolution post-event press conference, AEW President Tony Khan said that it's not clear if that match is actually going to take place or not. It's going to depend on if Ospreay is medically cleared to compete after what was a very hard-hitting match against Takeshita on Sunday night. And one last quick bit from AEW Revolution last night. On the pre-show, a vignette featuring Pac aired, where Pac said he is going to be coming back very soon, so look for Pac to be returning to the company. TKO Group Holdings released its 2023 business report late last week, and in that report, it was noted that for the 12-month period ending December 31st, 2023, the company's consolidated pre-tax results included $34.2 million in costs related to certain litigation matters at UFC and WWE, which includes a $20 million charge related to the settlement of an antitrust lawsuit at WWE. So MLW, it is widely believed, received $20 million in response to their lawsuit that alleged WWE interfered with their a potential streaming and television deal for their content. And so that actually, and this was brought up on Wrestling Observer Radio by Dave Meltzer, it was brought up that $20 million settlement basically means Major League Wrestling was the second most profitable wrestling company in the entire world behind WWE for 2023, as it is widely believed AEW won't be profitable until their TV rights deal, until they receive a new TV rights deal for 2025. And of course, it was a difficult year for New Japan Pro Wrestling and many other wrestling companies as well. So good on Major League Wrestling. $20 million is a lot of money. And of course, the wrestling world lost Mike Jones last week, better known as Virgil or Vincent or Soul Train Jones. He passed away on February 28th. And in the wake of his passing, some news came out about Virgil's actual age. For the longest time, his birth date had been listed as April 7th, 1962, and this was the date that many in wrestling believed he was born. However, there was an interview done by Slam Wrestling years ago where it was revealed that Virgil's actual birth date was April 7th, 1951, making him 11 years older than what people in wrestling thought he was. And this is, I've gone through Slam Wrestling's old thing, and they have an article from 2022 where they note that Virgil's birth date was April 7th, 1951. Now, in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was noted that most people in wrestling believed the 1962 birth date. So many people, his bookers, his employers, people he worked with, believed him to be 11 years younger than he actually was. So when Virgil won the $1 million championship at SummerSlam 1991, WWE thought they were putting the title on a young 29-year-old up-and-comer. He was actually 40 at the time. So Virgil's death did take place at the age of 72 rather than the age of 61. And for some reason, that is just the most fitting story for Virgil, that he was still hustling to that degree. All right, finally, everyone, let's get to the lineups for the upcoming shows. So tonight, WWE Raw is from the Frostbank Center. Yeah, the Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas, and it is completely sold out. This is the 5th consecutive TV sellout for WWE. They are crazy hot right now as we lead into WrestleMania. Over 13,500 tickets have been distributed to the show. And let's take a look at what has been announced. Just 2 matches announced for the show so far. We will see Becky Lynch take on Nia Jax in a battle of top-ranked women in the Raw division. And we will also see Drew McIntyre take on Jey Uso. Then on Tuesday night, just in case we don't put out a video on Tuesday, it's a special edition of WWE NXT. It is NXT Roadblock. Here is what's scheduled for that show. Shawn Spears, after returning to WWE on last week's show, Shawn Spears is going to be in action at NXT Roadblock. His opponent has not been announced. We will see an Asylum match between Dijak and Joe Gacy. The NXT Tag Team Championships will be on the line as Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin defend against Chase U. We will also see the WWE Women's Tag Team titles on the line as the Kabuki Warriors defend against Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. And then in a number one contenders match for the NXT Championship, Carmelo Hayes will take on Tony D'Angelo. And then early Wednesday morning, it is the 52nd anniversary show for New Japan Pro Wrestling from the Oda City General Gymnasium in Tokyo. The first 5 matches are multi-person tag matches, but then we will get 3 matches in the first round of the New Japan Cup and then a special champion versus champion match. So it will be Toru Yano versus Yujiro Takahashi in the first round of the New Japan Cup. Also in the first round of the New Japan Cup, Yoshihashi will take on Kenta. And then in a very important match for fans of AEW and wrestling in North America, we will see Shota Umino against Jack Perry in the first round of the New Japan Cup as well. And then in the main event, it's champion versus champion. It's non-title, neither title up for grabs, but the IWGP World Champion Tetsuya Naito will take on the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. He just won that title from El Desperado in Sapporo a couple weeks back. It'll be House of Torture's show. And that's going to do it for this video, everyone. Make sure to click the like button and click the notifications bell and the subscribe thingy. Do all those things. And we'll see you again next video.